start with an opening statement from Coach Schertz and then questions.
First credit to George Mason. Their shot making tonight was fantastic, and I certainly most of those were on me because the way that we wanted to guard, just playing numbers and odds. Newton coming the game, he'd only made, I think, 77 threes in his career in 6 years and had made 9 in conference play. And obviously, we thought that Kalu was a better matchup on Haynes and that we would be able to, swarm that. And he gets going with 6 and then we switched Kalu on him and we had, 2 breakdowns there. But he makes 8 and then, Billups made 4 and he makes 2. And, and then KD Johnson hadn't made many, and he makes 2. So, that's all, coming into a game with a scouting report, that's not on the players, or people say, well, they didn't guard him. We weren't not trying to guard him, but we were certainly living with space and contests and trying to take other stuff away. And so they were just doing what they were told. So I own all that. That's all 100% on me. And then, again, credit them for their play down the stretch. I'm proud of our guys. I thought we fought, we competed. Guys gave everything they had. I thought against what I think is, as physical or the most physical team in the league. I thought, we matched them punch for punch there. I mean, we out-rebounded them. We were on the offensive glass. We scored more points per possession than anybody has against them all year, I think, the 1.1 points per possession. And against the top, I think they're 10th or 11th defense in the country. And so some good things. I got to be better down the stretch to, get Robbie into some of those actions. And, and I told the team in there, that's on me. I got to do a better job of kind of manipulating and putting Rob in there. They put Billups on him, which is a hard matchup, but there's things I can do to make his life easier and to get him the ball and at least get him into some actions there. And so I got to do a better job that down the stretch. That again, like the scouting report stuff's on me.
Yeah, the way you finish regulation and you get to overtime, but the offense, and you missed your first 5 shots. T, and really the only basket was Swope's layup there.
Yeah, we had some decent looks. I mean, the out-of-bounds play, we got a wide-open 3 for Swope in the corner. I thought, we got Rob got fouled once. We had a 1-on-1 there. But we had some tough possessions. You got to credit them. I didn't, without the benefit of a timeout. We got to be cleaner with our execution. And we got to make better decisions, better reads. But again, I think a lot of that just that's on me to get the guys in better spots. I thought with 75-72 we were trying to do something. There was a little bit of a miscommunication, and that possession was the worst one because there's 37 seconds left. We don't need a 3, and we could take a 2 and set up our press, and it's fine. And we wound up taking a really hard shot. That missed, and then so that was not the game, but close to the game. That when you go that long, and I think there's 20-some seconds off the clock, and we wind up with a 180, spinning 3 out of the. I mean, that's just not good. So again, nothing I could do. I didn't have a timeout, but we got to execute better. I got to put them in better spots.
With Robbie's game tonight, obviously much better. Is a lot of that just a matter of him making a couple shots and then rolling with the confidence, or was he just making better decisions?
Got more athletic. No, but no, I think it was a combination of things. He was really aggressive early. I thought his first 3 or 4 threes were wide open. He just missed them. I thought he got great looks early. They played him different ways. Sometimes they had the 5 on him. They switched some, went with guards on him. He got in the seams early and attacked him in the seams, and did a good job there. He got to some post-ups. He scored a lot in the post early, was dribbling down guards. Thought he was much more forceful against those guards, really aggressive to score. They put Haynes on him for a little while. Then he got in some, which pick and pop situations because of the big. They have to give coverage. And we've got to do some things to manipulate to get him coverage. And that's where I'm frustrated down the stretch, without the timeout. I didn't have a chance to do that, so that's on me. But yeah, I mean, a combination of things. I mean, obviously shots going in, which is the ultimate variance of the game. I mean, but just like their shots went in, I mean, they made 15 threes tonight. I don't know that they have done that or will do that again this season. But, like that shooting variance is the ultimate. But Rob, I thought, was really aggressive. He was forceful with the basketball. He was terrific tonight. Played with a ton of confidence. Looked like himself. And as we've said, I mean, he's having to work and on some things with how people are guarding him. But again, I have to do a better job down the stretch and making sure that he's involved more than he was. And that possession at 75-72, I'll kicking myself on that one.
Gibson goes 45 minutes, so the ankle must not have been that bad. He makes 2 to 11 shots, so I don't know if there was any.
Yeah.
It didn't look like the ankle was giving him a problem.
No, I don't think so. I thought Gibbs. Gibbs a warrior. He's the ankle doesn't look great. It's discolored and everything else. But that kid's I've coached a long time. I mean, I haven't coached anybody any tougher. I'll say that. Coached a lot of tough kids. Gibb would be as tough as any. And that was the thing I told the locker room is, you come in and you play the first place team and they have the night they have, which was I would say some anomalies in there, and we had no anomalies. Like if we went back in the locker room and Kalu had made 8 threes, or whatever, you'd say, man, that was a heck of a night, but that didn't happen. We actually, went 12 for 38 from 3. Gibb and Swope combined to go 6 for 24. We didn't even play great, and we had every chance to win that game. And so, when you have a loss like this, and I mean, it is. I can't even describe how gut wrenching it is. That pain can, if you're not a strong locker room, that can really take your season to a bad place because you can't overcome it. It's like it kind of drops you in a regression. But if you have a strong locker room and you got strong competitive character, that pain can really be fueled into growth. And I hope for our group, and I believe 100% that we're in that latter group. And we walk out of here like, we're not close to. We didn't play out of our minds tonight. There was nothing incredible about our. We competed. We were physical. I thought our energy was great. Our effort was great. We fought as hard as we could. We gave everything we had to the game. We didn't make 18 threes or nobody went crazy. You're like, oh my God, that's never happened before. We've never seen that, And we had every chance to win that game. So hopefully there's a tremendous confidence that as we get to these last 6 games, man, let's lock in. Let's try to continue to get better. Let's try to reach our ceiling. And we think if we do, then we're hopefully good enough to win whatever many games in Washington, in March. And but we want to get better every single day, and we want to be playing our best basketball. And like I said, we should leave out of here. If VCU and George Mason are the class of the league, I don't think we're far away. If we're a cut below, it's not far, and I think we have a lot of room for growth. I don't think we're near our ceiling as a basketball team.
Okay.
I was going to say, when you talk about the possessions down the stretch, and obviously you're talking about putting them in better positions, but is there a push-pull for you just because you've got some older guys that you trust to play and flow and let them make decisions? I mean, I guess how is that sort of,
yeah.
How do you weigh that as it's...
Well, you're not trying to, in that game, there's 2 ways to approach it. Like, we were obviously, the only shot that they made in overtime was the 3 that hit the backboard and the back of the rim and kind of died in there, so everything else was a miss for them too. And so on misses against a defense that good, you want to get the ball ahead of them and try to play fast, because the worst thing you could do is have all 5 of them sitting there because they're big, they're athletic, they can switch, they can switch 4 or 5 positions, and there's really not anywhere you can pick on a mismatch. So we're trying to play fast. But in that scenario where so a lot of the possessions we're trying to play out of flow and play quickly, and they weren't switching, and we didn't do a good enough job of screening and if they're not going to switch because they're trying to blow stuff up, then you really got to set rock hard screens, because that guy's going to get downhill if you set a great screen and they don't switch. And we didn't, and they blew a lot of stuff up. And then that last play, I was trying to get a favorable matchup for Swope, and we did, but he had Kobe in the seam. We didn't throw it, and then we just wound up kind of with a wasted possession. And again, in that scenario, 75-72, with that much time, if we drive it, you get a layup. They're not trying to foul. It's 75-74, and you pick up your press, and you trap twice, and if you don't get it, you got 14 or 15 seconds, and they're going back to the line. It might have been 2 or a 1-on-1 in that scenario, and you're trying to extend the game, and we didn't. And we missed the 3 with 11 seconds left, fouled. They made 1. We come down, make the layup, but at that point there was, game was over. We lost, that wasted possession, the shot we got, and the amount of time it took, you couldn't overcome that.
You've had so many, it seems like, of these games where you're pushing at the end to make up, that 4 to 6 point deficit, and some of them have gotten over the hump, and some of you haven't. I don't know if it seems like a lot to you that kind of fall in that category. But
it does.
What does that tell you? I mean, because you talk about how tough they are and, resilient, but yet you're not doing maybe enough within the game so that you're not having to scrap in the last minute to get over the hump.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, we're, I think I said it's a Dumas game, like, we can be maddening at times, we come out of the game and, we turned it over 7 times in the first 7 minutes, and I mean, just absolute bonehead turnovers. I mean, remarkably bad plays. And we're down 13-4. And then we settle in and we play and we're fine, and then we work it back, and I think we're down 2 at half. And second half comes out and we turn it over the first couple. We come out second half and it was like, turned it over a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. They get up 10. And, and so now games ebb and flow and run. I don't think that in our circumstance with the 9 guys we have and the amount of young guys we have and all that. And the reality is, we haven't had a game our margins are pretty small now. If Gibb has a game where he goes 7 for 11 from 3, or so was a game he goes 7 for 11 from 3, or we ever get those guys going at the same time, maybe our margin increases. You have a game where you're like, man, they won by 25 tonight. They looked awesome. For the most part, not the whole part, but most part, I thought we got fairly good looks against a great defense. Looks that we can live with. But when, the reality is our margin for error is very, very small. And the league is really good, and we're playing the hardest schedule in the league. I mean, I know going in the night, I think we were 2, and Loyola was 1, but Loyola played Richmond. We played George Mason, so we were super close. That'll flip. And, we've played, I think, and third is a distant way away. We're going to play the hardest schedule in the league with 9 guys, and 3 or 4 of them are young kids that it's tough for them. So we're asking a lot of our guys, and guys like Gibb, guys like Swope, guys like Rob. For us to have margin, they all got to play at a really high level, and they're competing at a high level. Like, Gibb and Swope, their shooting numbers weren't great. Their floor games were really good. The way they competed defensively, the way they compete on the glass, the way they were trying to move and come. They burned a ton, and they're playing 40-plus minutes. I mean, we're asking them. Swope rarely practices because of his knee. Asking that guy to play 40-plus minutes, and he, most days doesn't go, for practice. He practices once or twice a week max, and he's able to do that. So I have a lot of respect for this group because I see every day, what they go through, how they deal with it, and it's not easy to do. And so our margins are super, super thin. And anything, we're going to be in a lot of those situations where it's going to come down to the final 4 minutes of the game. But I think that's, a lot of case in this league too. You look at the league, there's a lot of, I don't know how many close games George Mason's played. You have to look it up, but I bet.
Almost all of them.
Yeah, as I'm saying. So I don't know that it's a whole lot different for them. I think, I want to say, almost every game. But we've found ourselves more than other teams, down 17 to Dayton, rally back, down 16 to George Mason, rally back, down 12 to UMass, down 7 late to Richmond, down to 9. We're having to And again, we got to do more to be better. So that's why I'm saying we're not close to our ceiling. And I think Water finds level. I think Gibb and Swope are going to shoot the ball better than what they're shooting the ball. I really do. Like I don't see them, and I'll say that till the horn goes off in the final game of the season. I think Water finds this level shooting wise. I don't think Gibb and Swope are 30% 3-point shooters, but if they are, that knocks our margin down significantly because they're going to take a bunch of them, and we need them to take a bunch of them.
How much of the defensive switch on your guys' part, taking Robbie off Haynes, putting Kalu on? How much of that was about a kind of keeping Robbie away from having to play a physical game the entire 40, knowing you were going to have to play him a lot, and how physical Haynes is?
Yeah, it was. We thought like putting him on Newton. Newton's a good player. We knew that, but I mean, again, he's a guy that's not a known 3-point shooter, and so it's like, well, we're gonna let him back up. And then we thought, Haynes is such a different post player because he's really not. I mean, he does some like at the rim, but most of the time he catches it and he's so good with the ball. He's facing up at 15 feet and he's ripping and driving. And Kalu's so much, his feet are so much better than Rob's. So it was a little bit of the physicality. It was to keep Rob out of foul trouble, keep him from having the physicality piece. And then we just thought Kalu was a better matchup, and then we were just going to try to, depending on who was in the game, there was times we blitzed him, there was times we played him straight up, and just tried to like swarm his dribble, and try to, we kind of knew what he does on the offensive end, and so, we tried to do a good job of that. I mean, we did a good job with Haynes, who's, arguably, is certainly one of their better players, but we got burned, with Newton making 8 threes, and, he comes out second half and makes, I think 5 or 6 in the first 11 possessions. Is that right? Something like that. 5 or 6, I guess 5. First 10, 11 possessions of the second half.
You guys took Robbie off and the guys switched.
Yeah, and once we switched.
Still were able to kind of, I mean, they weren't crazy open looks, all of them. They were still able to get a couple.
Yeah, when he had 6, we took Rob off him. The 7th, Kalu had him, and he wasn't all the way up to touch. And then the 8th one, they subbed Haynes back in, and we wanted him to go because they had Billups in, and we wanted Robbie to guard Billups, and just Kalu's, I don't know, his hearing aids weren't working, so we were not able to communicate that, and then Newton got a wide open 3 and banged that one, and that was the timeout that I called, but that was on. With Billups in, we wanted to switch the matchup back for whatever reason. Kalu didn't know that. We had plenty of time to do it. It never happened, and then by the time it did happen, Kalu left him, and it was at the inopportune time. Ball was 1 pass away, and Newton makes a 3 from the left slot. So,
you mentioned earlier that you guys are able to play faster. Is that how you score 70 points on a team that's physical? That you're talking about their ability to flatten you guys out. It seemed like them not switching and you playing faster. Is that how the equation works? Do you guys get this many points scored? Yeah, I think we got to continue to play fast. We got some good transition baskets, pitch aheads. I mean, we always want to try to play fast. I think we've been playing faster and being better in transition. I mean, part of playing fast is getting stops, and that's a big piece of it. You got to be able to dig in and get stops. We held them to 38% from the field, and so, but we got to be able to get out, run in transition. That always is predicated on our defense. Defense fuels, your transition. I mean, we still want to run on makes, but we're usually, maybe into a concept there. But, like we were talking about earlier in the overtime, on misses, we want to try to run because that's usually, again, particularly against a defense like that, once they get all 5 guys across half court, I mean, that's a lot of size and length, and everybody's 6'4" and above. They can switch everything. It becomes dicey. But I thought we did a really good job. I mean, we talked about it, they were going to stress our offense in the highest way, and from hitting seams and ball movement and generating open looks. We didn't make them all, but we got a lot of great looks. They're a great defense. They're well-schooled, super physical. They're terrific at the point of attack. They've got great switchability. They flood drives. They make you, play at the rim and make you make decisions. Very well drilled, very well-schooled team. That was really good for our offense because if we can do that to them, VCU is really good defensively as well, but that's the best defense we've faced all year.
You end this run of games with Loyola on Friday, which all of a sudden takes on like another level of it because they're 1 game behind you.
Yeah.
Now, how big is Friday night?
Yeah, I mean they're all huge. I mean this stretch was going to be massive. We knew, coming out of LaSalle, 7 games, and it was like 7 games in 20 days or something, and the amount of travel we were going to undertake, and the level of, I think going into it, we were underdogs in all 7 games, because of where they were played or who we were playing. Like if you looked at that stretch from an analytics standpoint, I don't look at us ever as underdogs in any game, but that was what it was. We knew it was going to be a tough stretch. They're all important. We obviously know. We're 7-5. We're 4 games back. We're not playing for a regular season championship. We would love to obviously work to get the double bye, but even more important than double bye to me is, are we playing our best basketball? Are we able to get to our ceiling between now and the end of the regular season? Do we look like the team we're capable of when March hits? Do we take this game and build on this? Because if we build on and we're able to play with a level of physicality and energy and toughness we showed tonight, and then we add in a little bit more of the intelligence to it, the discipline, now we're a team that, like I said, we've already shown. There should be no question that if VCU and George Mason, the 2 best teams in the league, that it'd be hard to say we can't play with them. That's a level too far for us. We're just, I think the chasm's too big. Whatever the chasm is, it's not that big. And so the work we do starting tomorrow and all the way through, March 8th, that's going to drive, what that looks like. Certainly we want to play and we want to win every single game left. Goal is to go 13-5. But I look at Loyola like I do the rest. It's the most important game I've ever coached because it's the next one. In a lot of ways, it's you're taking the data and you're trying to get better. They all count the same. If we split this week, it wouldn't have mattered how we split it. Come in and get Loyola, and then you get a break. I do think if anybody needs a rest, it's our guys. With what they've outputted here, we're exhausted, but they gotta dig in for one more on the road against a great team. And I know this. I don't know how we'll play, but I know we're going to fight. I know we're going to compete. I know that we're going to give it everything we have, and we'll fight like we did, from tip to buzzer.
Considering the physicality, Mason, surprising that you didn't make any subs in the second half until Max comes on at the end?
No, I felt like, you're always kind of playing it by feel. I didn't done that plenty of times where I felt like guys could go the whole second half. It just seemed like there was enough, breaks in the action, and it felt like I'm watching to see if somebody's fatigued or if somebody looks like, man, they need a blow. And I'll grab them one, like we took Kobe out late in the first half, put Amari in because Kobe was tired, I could tell. But there didn't seem to be that. It just the medias fell at the right time, and it felt like the game was in the balance the whole way, and that group, had a pretty good rhythm. Once we got down 10, they worked their way back in, and didn't feel like we needed to sub. Wasn't anything with our guys. Thought Dylan, Amari, and Max played fine in their minutes. Just got obviously they were limited in what they were out there.
Good. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.